Welcome to the Nitpicking Nerds. Today, a brand new threat from a brand new set. That set, Zendikar Rising.
We're doing a deck tech on Omnath, Locus of Creation.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Beezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. If you haven't subscribed yet, or you're just seeing us for the first time, how about you just subscribe now, and then when this video is amazing, you'll be like, wow, I made the right decision.
Yeah, and besides, you want to be subscribed to this channel because our subscribers are 10% more colorful.
Disclaimer guy here. If you want to be more colorful, wear a rainbow shirt or something.
Speaking of more colorful, Omnath is now 33% more colorful. He was 3, now he's 4. 33% more, right?
That's something that always confused me. The bag of chips 100% more. I think you're right. That makes sense.
Anyway, my segue stands. Omnath is more colorful. This is a 4-color Omnath. We're going to read him and then talk about what the deck does. Red, green, white, blue for a 4/4 legendary elemental. When Omnath enters the battlefield, draw a card. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 4 life if this is the first time this ability has resolved this turn. If it's the second time, you add red, green, white, blue to your mana pool. If it's the third time, Omnath deals 4 damage to each opponent and each planeswalker you don't control.
Now, you're not going to believe this, but this deck actually wants to get 3 landfall triggers every turn to take advantage of each of these abilities. The first one's not so relevant. Second one is incredible. Third one, very good.
Honestly, once we get into the categories, the first one's probably going to save you some effort later on. Like, it'll save you brain power, but the other 2 are how we're actually going to win.
Well, yeah, I mean, making 4 mana for your second land up is insane. And obviously, dealing 4 is probably just it's on the gravy side, but also it's going to win you the game eventually.
That's how we win. We're trying to combo off and do it as Omnath is our main win condition. So let's get into it. First category, extra landfall. Omnath obviously wants 3 per turn. So the baseline, what we first want to do to put in this deck is, how are we actually going to get 3 lands out in a turn?
Well, the first thing, the easiest thing, one of the best things, we have 42 lands. Fetch lands are insane. BZ put in 10 fetch lands total. I don't know. I might just go to the full whatever you can play. Just crank those bad boys up because fetch lands are absolutely insane in this deck. They literally just go. So if you have Omnath out, it goes fetch land, gain 4 life. Now you fetch, you just get all that mana. It's insane.
Right, you fetch, then you get 4 mana. All you did was play a land. All you did was play your commander who replaced itself and then played a land and fixed your mana. And now all of a sudden you gain 4 life and have 4 mana. That's what I like so much about Omnath's gain 4. They knew for commander. Just fetch and shock every time because it'll never matter. No. You're going to gain so much life. You can even, along the lines of you play Omnath, and if you're planning on not winning and you just want to, he's going to have to survive around to the table, just fetch on somebody else's turn and gain 4 life.
Oh, yeah. And this, oh, God, he's so good.
Yeah, he's very, very good.
Yeah. The fact that he comes down and just immediately draws a card is already pretty crazy.
It's tough. It's tough to beat that efficiency. We also have Sakura Tribe Scout, an actual non-land card. 1 mana, 1/1, tap, put a land from your hand into play. You can do it on other people's turns. You can combo off on your turn and do it faster that way.
That's pretty simple. I mean, it's easy. That's Sakura Tribe is a great card. Next, Knight of the Reliquary, which lets you sacrifice a plains or a forest, and you can go get any land out of your deck and put it into play. There's 42 to choose from. You choose a fetch land, all of a sudden, it's really easy to hit 3.
Yeah, you play a land, turn a land into a fetch, that's 2. Fetch, that's 3. You already got there. Congratulations. Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath, 1 green-blue for a 6/6. It comes in and it draws a card, and then you can put a land into play from your hand, and you gain 3 life, and then it escapes back later, which is actually relevant. So that's the main reason Uro's even in here. He accelerates lands, and he has a relevant graveyard ability. We also have Mina and Den, Wildborn, Oracle of Moldiah, Dryady of the Elysian Grove, and Exploration. They all say you can play an extra land. So as long as you have it somewhere to play from, you can have 2 for free.
Oh, for like playing extra lands. Explore. Growth Spiral, which is, they're basically the same thing, except one's instant speed, and Cure the Crashing Wave, who minuses to do an Explore / Growth Spiral.
Yeah, there's a couple Planeswalkers in here. I'm really happy. There's 4 different ones that are all on brand. Cure is the worst one.
I mean, even so, I mean, playing extra lands is so good for us that it doesn't matter.
I mean, 4 mana, double Explore, that's puts you ahead on cards, right? And it's actually mana efficient. So I'll play that card all day. Crucible of Worlds lets you play lands from the graveyard. Oh, you're wondering where you're going to get your 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th land drop? just play the same stupid fetch land over and over from your graveyard.
Yeah, obviously there's going to be a million fetch targets in this deck. We didn't slack. We know you need to be able to fetch over and over and over.
Yeah, there's like 15 fetch targets and 10 fetches.
And over.
Yeah. And the last one, Escape to the Wilds. This is a cool new Throne of Eldraine card. Well, it's not new, but it's cool. 5 mana, exile top 5 cards. You can play an additional land this turn, and then you can cast all those cards until the end of your next turn.
Simple, easy. This card's really cool. You get some extra land drops. You can play this card on turn 5 to get some value, get an extra land drop or 2, depending on when you play it exactly. And then you can just untap and play most of those cards. It's pretty sweet.
It's going to end up being like a 5 mana draw 3, and then you put 3 lands in play.
I mean, it's still draw 5 because if you get to make extra land drops, card's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely playable.
So the next category, drawing cards from our lands. So if you just throw your lands into play, all of a sudden my hand's empty. I got nothing left to do. Where am I going? Cards like Tireless Tracker can turn our lands into cards. Tireless Tracker basically has landfall. Whenever a land is a battlefield under your control, you get a clue, which means you can pay 2, sack it, draw a card. Great card.
Omnath, Locus of the Royal. He's got a bunch of text. Mostly he says when you have 8 or more lands and you play one, you draw a card.
Yep. And also, you can pump up your commander. Get him really buff because he does put counters on elementals. And Omnath are actually both elementals.
Yeah, every Omnath is in here except for the green one. This is a 4-color deck. Doesn't really belong.
Yeah, it doesn't really work. Yeah, Omnath's lands matter except for the first one, who is mana matters. Next, Tatiova. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card, gain a life. Awesome card.
Non-optional, so be careful. But I don't think that's going to matter. We're probably going to win. The other Planeswalker, another one. Nissa Vital Force. +1s to make a land into a 5/5, but it has a -6 so it starts at 5, +1. That is -6 is you get an emblem with, whenever you play a land, draw a card. Whenever a land enters, draw a card. It's even better. So now you're fetching, you just draw 2 cards. If you can get this ultimate off, I don't know how you lose, really, in this deck.
No, you don't at all. Horn of Greed, this is a symmetrical effect, which means everybody's getting it. Whenever land enters the battlefield, the player who played it draws a card.
It's slightly different. It's whenever a player plays a land. So if you growth spiral a land into play, you don't draw a card. But if you explore a land into play, you do draw a card. So read your cards because this one matters.
Okay, yeah, that actually is true. That does just matter. It's a weird one. So what's next?
It's Tectonic Reformation or Trade Routes. Sometimes we can't draw cards when we play a land, but we can literally, like you said, Tireless Tracker turns lands into cards. Well, not really, just adds card draw. This literally turns lands into cards. Tectonic Reformation gives all lands cycling for a red, and Trade Routes says you can pay 1 and return a land you control to its owner's hand, or pay 1 and discard a land to draw a card. We literally can't brick with these cards out.
Yeah, exactly. We have a ton of lands, which means we're going to flood out at some points because we threw a ton of lands in this deck, so throw some of them away. Get some card draw when you don't have it. I mean, we'll have it when we have some of those other cards in play. Obviously, don't throw your lands away for no reason.
But Trade Routes is especially great. Oh, I can play 4 extra lands this turn, but I only have 1 land in my hand. Okay, just bounce lands you already have and just replay the same land and get Omnath's all of his abilities.
Yeah, we want all of his abilities every single turn.
Okay, this deck's actually kind of focused in a certain way. We're building around... There's like an enchantment sub-theme specifically built around Song of Creation, which we will read right now. 1 and a teamer for an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, discard your hand. Got to get the bad news out of the way. Whenever you cast a spell, draw 2 cards, and you can play an additional land on each of your turns.
Okay, so we want to get this card a lot because the whole point, one of the main points of this deck is to get this card out with Omnath out and just do exactly what we want to do to execute our game plan, play all of our cards, and not stop. Basically, just churn through our deck until we win. So ways to get it are Idyllic Tutor. We can tutor up an enchantment. Enlightened Tutor. Tutor up an enchantment to the top. Sterling Grove. Tutor up an enchantment, but also gives your enchantments hexproof. And Wargate, which is you can get any type of permanent for... What is it? Bant. For
Bant and X.
Bant X, and then you can choose what you get from there. Obviously, X or less is what you can get.
Wargate can even get lands. Wargate is awesome. Whoever said, no one said this, but whoever's saying Omnath didn't need white makes this like just through the roof. You just tutor for all this nonsense. I will say Song of Creation, the gist of it, why I picked this one is, well, now we want all of our lands to draw cards when they enter, and now all of our spells draw cards. So literally any possible draw we have draws us cards. So what's going to stop us from winning?
Yeah.
Nothing.
We just need to make sure we have a card draw engine for our lands. Otherwise, if we start our turn and go, oops, it's a land, then we can end up in trouble. Obviously, stuff like that.
Unless we have Tectonic Reformation and Trade Routes where we're just like, okay, recycle it, doesn't matter. That's why I mentioned Uro from before, because Song of Creation will make you discard your hand. So if you don't win immediately, you got no hand. But if you untap with it, or you somehow have no hand to begin with, if Song of Creation is somehow your last card, now we have cards that can cast from the graveyard like Uro, and we also have Flame Jab, which is hilarious. It's 1 red for a sorcery. You deal 1 to any target, but it's got Retrace, so you can cast it from your graveyard by discarding a land. Oh, I drew a land, I bricked. Now I'll just pay 1 mana and draw 2 cards.
Yeah, it's kind of silly. Momentary Blink flashes back from the graveyard as well for 3 in the blue. Flashback's great because, again, we discard it, and then we just use it, and we get the value. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, but you didn't say why Momentary Blink is great. Momentary Blink is super special because you play Omnath, get your 3 landfall triggers, and then you blink him, and then now you get 3 more landfall triggers. And then you flash it back, and you blink him. And now you get 3 more landfall triggers.
Yes, that's true. I forgot all about that. Omnath becomes a new object if you blink him. So as a new object, he restarts from the first trigger of his thing. So he'll start with Gain 4 life and then go through his little motions again.
Which means the Momentary Blink's just going to pay for itself. So you're going to net like 6 mana as long as you have the lands to play, which you probably will. Now we can talk about how we actually win the game. The first couple are just, there's going to be like a big mana. We just do enough stuff and we win because we have a million lands. And then there's the Omnath sort of combo. But first we're going to talk about Nyx Plume Ancient. It's 4 green for an enchantment creature, 5/5. Can be tutored with all that enchantment stuff. All your permanents make triple.
Yeah, this is a triple mana production. This card is, in most decks, the definition of overkill because triple mana is like insane. We're not a huge fan of this card because it is a 7 mana card, but in a deck like this, where we're just chucking a ton of lands into play, suddenly you play Nyx Plume Ancient, you spend 7 mana, and it's netting mana somehow.
Right, even if you only have 10 lands when this enters, now, okay, you have 9 more mana. Cool. Start going off with Omnath. Oh, he just made 4 mana. All right, well, now I can bounce this land and play 2 extra lands, flicker Omnath. Oh, and we just go off from there. Nyx Plume Ancient's kind of easy mode.
Oh, wait. Nyx Plume Ancient makes 12 mana with Omnath?
I think it's if a permanent is tapped. So Omnath won't even make extra. We don't even need it. We don't care.
I was going to say, because that's silly. But okay, yeah, I'm glad that I didn't even think about that. Mirari's Wake makes all of our lands produce double. Great card. Because our creatures +1/+1 for the extra little gravy.
Is not technically double. It's an additional, right? So that because if you have Nyx Plume Ancient and Mirari's Wake, then your lands make 6. Because they'll make 1, 3, 1, 3.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair.
Basic math, Joe Cherry's ultimate enemy. Zakama, Primal Calamity, it's 9 mana, 9/9. When you cast it, if it enters, you untap all your lands. Free roll, this card costs 0 mana.
I mean, yeah, it does cost 9 mana as an additional cost. You have to make sure you have
That's
9
trivial.
mana to tap.
That's trivial. If I don't have 9 mana, I'm going to scoop the game right away.
If you don't have 9 mana...
At any given point.
So you just scoop on turn 1 every game? BZ never has played a game at EDH because you just scoop.
Not with this deck. You're going to win every game. It also controls the board and is annoying.
Yeah, it blows up enchantments and artifacts, gains your life, and kills creatures. It can deal 3 for 3 mana. I mean, that can kill 9 things for the mana that you're going to have just to cast it.
Yeah, that plus Nyx Plume Ancient is kind of a joke. I don't know. If you get both of those, I don't know how you're not winning. 1 mana per activation.
Pretty silly. Omnath Locus of Rage is the Kool-Aid Man, or the
Gruel-Aid
Man, as he's called. And whenever a land enters the battlefield, you get a 5/5 elemental. And whenever elemental dies on your side, you get to Lightning Bolt, right?
This is Lightning Bolt at 3 any target. This is going to come down, overwhelm everybody, and this is kind of the only way we plan on winning with creatures, alongside our favorite land that we'll only mention fleetingly, Field of the Dead, because we mention it all the time, and it's amazing, and it's a slam dunk in this deck. Just flood the board. That's kind of like Plan E. You could probably cut Omnath if you want to go more combo heavy.
Yeah, I mean, but Omnath's still a great card in this deck. I mean, kind of silly. We're making extra land drops. We're getting 5/5s for a land drop. That's pretty dang good.
Yeah, I would you could go all in creature-wise and add a couple haste enablers, or just take them out if you want to go Song of Creation, which we haven't even fully delved into yet, but we will.
Next is one of the most basic win cons you'll ever see in a land matters deck. Vesuva. Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle. So Vesuva can be a copy of Valakut. That's usually the goal. And then we have Prismatic Omen and Dryad of the Listening Grove, which make our lands all basic land types. So obviously we know why that's good. We know why that's good because with Valakut, every land entering is going to trigger to let us deal a Lightning Bolt. And then if you really just want to be, okay, that's good value to get. But what about if we just Scapeshift? Now you just Scapeshift, you get rid of everything. It all comes in and you just win. Because It's like 150 damage probably is what we can do.
Yeah, if you got 10 lands in play and you sack them all to Scapeshift and 2 of them, you get back are Valakut and Vesuva. They're not even part of the combo. They just need to be in your deck. It's not like this is literally just Prismatic Omen plus Scapeshift or Dryad of Leeson Grove plus Scapeshift, and you just need to build your deck right. Because you're going to get 10 triggers. They're all going to enter at the same time. They're all mountains. So 10 times 6 equals 60. That's just with 10 lands.
Well, yeah, you have they each deal 6. There's 10, 60, and like you said, and then on top of that, you can just get any number of fetches.
Which one are tapped?
Which ones are tapped, but that's fine because
Do it next turn.
Next turn, if you untap, which you've already killed your threats. The threats died. Whoever was left in the game that was a threat died, and now the player with who was been picked on all game is just sitting there going, uh-oh.
Oh, I can't wait to get second place.
I can't wait till I let him untap, and he just sacks all 6 of his fetches to just absolutely annihilate me.
Yeah. So the last thing, when we're going off with Song of Creation, the only thing we're not going to have potentially is Omnath reset ability. So we're just going to take extra turns and just get it the hard way. Teferi, Master of Time, is the third Planeswalker in the deck. The other one is Ren and 6. Didn't get a chance to talk about it, but that card's awesome.
That card is awesome.
Teferi, Master of Time is going to +1 and draw and discard everyone's turn, and then he's going to -10. You take 2 extra turns. It's going to be trivial, especially if we're already taking extra turns. He's plussing during the extra turns. I don't know. That just gets crazy. Cherries' favorite card, Expropriate, probably just wins you the game anyway. You could just ramp, do none of the game plan, and play this card on turn 6, and you might win.
Oh, card is absolutely insane. Expropriate, we don't need to tell you why it's good. If you've ever cast it or had it cast against you, you know why this card's great.
It's frustratingly good.
Yes. Next of Fate is a 7-mana instant, take an extra turn, but instead of going to your graveyard, it is shuffled into your library. Pretty simple. That card's really good. It's also going to be a win con in this deck because ultimately, if we get down to no cards in deck, which we can with something like Song of Creation.
And Flame Jab, if you just Flame Jab until you hit Nexus of Fate and then play it, Omnath just is going to deal 4, and Flame Jab's probably going to deal like 6 at that point. You just do it ad nauseum and you win. You don't need anything else.
Oh, yeah. And all of that together with Omnath, getting all of his triggers, getting all of his value all the time, you're just going to end up winning the game. Because how can you not win the game?
Song of Creation is too much value. This deck has counterspells. I didn't even leave stuff off. We've got counterspells. We've got actual removal. There's a Psych Rift. There's like Vandal Blast. You can actually interact through a Tragic Arrogance too, because we only care about Omnath.
Oh, yeah.
So this deck's interacting. It's comboing off. If we don't find Song of Creation, we're building up to it. We're going to have 20,000 lands to play. This deck looks really cool.
I mean, yeah, it seems really strong. Be careful. Song of Creation is on a May, is it?
For what?
For its draw?
I think you just draw 2.
Well, then be careful, because if you have only 1 card left in your deck, you're going to lose.
But if you're drawing your deck, you're going to find the many ways to kill an artifact or enchantment.
Yes.
And I see no issue with that.
Well, I'm not arguing with your statement. I'm just saying beware of things that aren't May abilities. They can kill you. That can just kill you if you're not careful with the deck.
Bah.
Just do it anyway.
Just have fun, kids. Go crazy.
Just go crazy. Kill yourself.
The Nitpicking Nerd does not endorse suicide. That's okay. Saved us there. Let's go to the shoutouts.
Special shout outs to all of our patrons. We love you all as much as we can without making you uncomfortable. You guys are awesome. You're the poopy babies. And the winner of the foil card that for being a patron in August was Jeffrey S. Mercer. I know my mind's not working right. I feel like that's just your name on Patreon. But that's your name on Patreon, Jeffrey S. Mercer. We'll send you a message on Patreon. We'll get you that card. It's awesome. It's a foil card. It looks sexy.
Congratulations. You've just won the best card that the Nitpicking Nerds have ever given out. It can be signed if you want or not if you want. This is the kind of stuff you're missing, folks. When you're not on Patreon, you're just missing foil crater hoofs just flying over your head. You're missing it.
Yeah. And what's our next prize?
Our next prize is going to be something great. That's all we have.
I thought you had it. For some reason, I thought you had it in your head. Okay.
No.
It's something great, as you guys will know, and that'll be for the month of September. So if you want to win something great, make sure you're signed up by the end of September.
This deck list is in the description. You can click it. We know you love clicking on those deck list links to see what we're actually cooking up because there's so much stuff that I didn't get to mention. Go there, buy the deck, buy whatever you want. We get a kickback either way as long as you use the link in the description. So go do that.
Yes, and if you can't get enough of me, and sometimes never busy.
Never, sometimes busy.
I stream Eastern Standard Time, 10 o'clock every weekday.
AM.
Thank you. AM. and Saturday nights for a drunk stream because I like to get a little tipsy on stream and have fun on Saturdays.
Tidbit, your turn. You've flubbed the last 2 tidbits that it was your job to do.
That's all I ever do is flub tidbits.
Yeah, that's not
okay, how about this? This is a tidbit about our life, but also about the channel. We are currently in the process of working on one of our biggest projects, besides Ranking Every Commander, which was our biggest project. This is probably our second biggest project we've ever done, and it is hopefully going to be coming around within the next month.
Definitely 100% before the end of the year. Ideally, next month.
I think we can get it done by next month, especially with how I finally, in the editing process, the magic of editing, I've got the system down, so I can really churn through compared to like at the beginning of the video. I was like, what do I want to put here? What do I want to put here?
It's going to be really long, and mostly voiceover.
Yeah, it's not as crazy long as I thought it was going to be. Like, I definitely thought like we're about 1/3 of the way done.
How long is it?
Ish, and it's not even quite 20 minutes yet, which is good because I thought.
I mean, in my head, I'm thinking an hour.
In my head, I was thinking like it's going to be forever. It's going to be like 2 hours, but this is good. It's going.
I don't know if you can even publish a 2-hour video like that.
You absolutely can.
Because no one's going to watch. I'm only, you know what? Show your support and let us know if you made it this far in the video. You're going to watch this new project. You're excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, people watch big, long projects, though. Like, people make long videos like that.
Yeah, maybe not an hour and a half long. This is going to be really long.
It's going to be a long video.
It's going to show how awesome we are, but we're done. We're done here.
Yeah, we are done here. Peace out, Tribe Scout.